Shri Prahlada Uvacha Matirna Krishna Parato Svatova Matirna Krishna Parata Svatova Mito Vipadyeta Grihavrutanam Mito Vipadyeta Grihavrutanam Adanta Govir Vishatam Tamishram Adanta Govir Vishatam Tamishram Puna Punascharvita Charvananam Puna Punascharvita Charvananam Synonyms. Sri Prahlada Uvacha Prahlad Maharaj said Matihi inclination Na never Krishna unto Lord Krishna Parataha from the instructions of others Swataha from their own understanding Va either Mitaha from combined effort Abhipadyeta is developed Grihavratanam of persons too addicted to the materialistic bodily conception of life Adanta uncontrolled Govihi by the senses Vishatam entering Tamishram hellish life Punaha again Punaha again Charvita things already chewed Charvananam who are chewing. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prahlad Maharaj replied, because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress toward hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. Translation with repetition. Prahlad Maharaj replied, because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress toward hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the words Matirna Krishna refer to devotional service rendered to Krishna. So-called politicians, erudite scholars, and philosophers who read Bhagavad Gita try to twist some meaning from it to suit their material purposes. But their misunderstandings of Krishna will not yield them any profit. Because such politicians, philosophers, and scholars are interested in using Bhagavad Gita as a vehicle for adjusting things materially. For them, constant thought of Krishna or Krishna consciousness is impossible. Matirna Krishna. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.55, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Only through devotional service can one understand Krishna as he is. The so-called politicians and scholars think of Krishna as fictitious. The politicians say that his Krishna is different from the Krishna depicted in Bhagavad Gita. Even though he accepts Krishna and Rama as the supreme, he thinks of Rama and Krishna as impersonal because he has no idea of service to Krishna. Thus his only business is punascharvita charvananam, chewing the chewed again and again. The aim of such politicians and academic scholars is to enjoy this material world with their bodily senses. Therefore, it is clearly stated here that those who are grihavrata, whose only aim is to live comfortably with the body in the material world, cannot understand Krishna. The two expressions Grihavrata and Charvita Charvanana indicate that a materialistic person tries to enjoy sense gratification in different bodily forms, life after life, but is still unsatisfied. In the name of personalism, thisism or thatism, such persons always remain attached to the materialistic way of life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 2.44, Bhogaishwarya prasakta nam taha aprita chaitasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Those who are attached to material enjoyment cannot be fixed in devotional service to the Lord. They cannot understand Bhagavan, Krishna or his instruction, Bhagavad Gita. Adanta gobe vishatam tamishnam. Their path actually leads toward hellish life. As confirmed by Rishabhadeva, Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahu Vimukte. One must try to understand Krishna by serving a devotee. The word Mahat refers to a devotee. Mahatmanas Tumam Partha Devim Prakritim Ashrita. Bhajanti Ananya Manaso Gnatva Bhutadim Avjaya. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. A Mahatma is one who is constantly engaged in devotional service, 24 hours a day. As explained in the following verses, unless one adheres to such a great personality, one cannot understand Krishna. Hiranyakashipu wanted to know where Prahlad had gotten this Krishna consciousness. Who had taught him? Prahlad sarcastically replied, "My dear father, persons like you will never understand Krishna. One can understand Krishna only by serving a Mahat, a great soul. Those who try to adjust material conditions are said to be chewing the chewed. No one has been able to adjust material conditions, but life after life, generation after generation, people try and repeatedly fail. Unless one is properly trained by a Mahatma, or unalloyed devotee of the Lord, there is no possibility of one's understanding Krishna and his devotional service." Thus, in Transcendental Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjanashalakya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prashadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyachate Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, thank you all for joining us for this 5 days of spiritual feast where we'll be discussing Krishna Katha. We have titled this series as Krishna Kathamrta, the nectar of Krishna Katha. So, first of all, we must be very grateful to the devotees at the temple for having this program and for Srila Prabhupada and the Lordships to give us this opportunity to speak here and ask questions regarding Krishna Katha. So, as the poster mentioned, that actually Krishna Katha is purifying wherever it is spoken, discussed, the place becomes pure. The person who is speaking, so I will quote the verse that Prabhupada says. So Prabhupada says, Krishna Katha or topics of Krishna are so pure that wherever they are spoken, the place, the hearer, the inquirer, the speaker, all concerned become purified. So Krishna Katha is so powerful that everyone becomes purified. The place becomes purified. So we are very fortunate for next 5 days we will be discussing until the day of Janmashtami. We will be having every day a topic on Krishna Katha. So Prabhupada says Krishna Katha means teachings by Krishna or teachings about Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Lord himself, and therefore it is called Krishna Katha. And Srimad Bhagavatam deals with the topics related to Krishna or topics about Krishna. And therefore this is also called Krishna Katha. And today, by inspiration of the Lord, somehow I ended up in this verse, which is spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj is speaking this verse, and the verse says, Matirna Krishna Parato Sotova. So, Matirna Krishna. So, Prabhupada is translating the word Mati here as inclination. Prabhupada uses this word Mati in different places with different connotations. Sometimes he uses the word consciousness, sometimes he uses the word attention, and so on and so forth. But here it is, so this verse is very unique, for this is telling that who can become Krishna conscious and who cannot become Krishna conscious. So this is very important. But even before we discuss who can become Krishna conscious and who cannot become Krishna conscious, while I was thinking about this verse, it came to my mind. As I mentioned, there are two kinds of Krishna Katha. One that is spoken by the Lord and spoken about Lord. But another kind of thing is anything that is spoken by a pure devotee is also Krishna Katha. So the Srila Prabhupada's purports and his conversations, his letters are also Krishna Katha. So why am I saying that? Because today we are only going to look into this word called Krishna consciousness. What does it mean to understand? What does it mean to say something like what Krishna consciousness? What is the meaning of this word? So we'll try to look into that. But in this verse, Prahlad Maharaj is saying who can become Krishna conscious and who cannot become Krishna conscious. So people, because of their uncontrolled senses, who are too attached to materialistic life and who are repeatedly chewing that is already chewed, their inclination towards Krishna does not arouse. So people who are busy engaging their senses with sense objects, who are mad after sense gratification, possessing material things, they cannot develop Krishna consciousness. And either by their own efforts or even by the instructions of others or by a combination of both, still they cannot understand Krishna or Krishna consciousness. Although this verse is saying who cannot understand Krishna consciousness, but Srila Prabhupada's purport is so wonderful that Prabhupada is also explaining simultaneously, okay, people may be afraid, I'm materialistic, I cannot understand Krishna, then what is the way out? So Prabhupada is also clarifying the purport as how one can actually become Krishna conscious. So it's a very wonderful purport and wonderful discussion. But I thought I'll just touch upon this word, Krishna consciousness, and what Srila Prabhupada has said about this in various places. Actually, Prabhupada has given many meanings to this one word, Krishna consciousness, especially in his lectures. What it means to be Krishna consciousness, to be Krishna conscious, what it means to be in Krishna consciousness means, and so on and so forth. Prabhupada has spoken very elaborately in various places. So I thought, as we are trying to become conscious of Krishna, it is very important for us to understand in practice as what Prabhupada is meaning to be always in Krishna consciousness. So I'm going to just read some excerpts from different lectures of Prabhupada, and we'll try to make some sense of these. So Prabhupada, in a lecture on Kunti Maharani prayers, he says that if you see always Krishna, that is Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means always thinking of Krishna. Your consciousness should be absorbed in Krishna thought. Therefore, we give different varieties of engagement. Krishna consciousness. We should not divert our energy. Now, when we are selling book, that is Krishna consciousness. We are selling book, but if we think that the selling book may be diverted into selling jewelry, that is not very good idea. That is not very good idea. Then we become jeweler. Punar Moshika Bhava. Again become mouse. We should be very much careful. Our Krishna consciousness cannot be diverted. Then you are gone to hell. Even there is danger, even there is suffering in Krishna consciousness, we should tolerate. That is the instruction. We should welcome such danger and pray to Krishna. What is that prayer? Tatte anukampam susamikshamanaha. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.8. My dear Lord, it is your great mercy that I am put into this dangerous position. That is the viewpoint of devotee. He doesn't take danger as danger. He takes it is Krishna's mercy. What kind of mercy? Now, Bhunjan evatma kritam vipakam. Due to my past activities, I was to suffer so much, but you are mitigating that suffering, giving me little suffering. So, Prabhupada is talking, the first point Prabhupada is making here, Krishna consciousness means to think always about Krishna. To be always absorbed in Krishna. So, this is what Krishna consciousness means. To be always, wherever, whatever we see, whatever we think, everything in relation to Krishna. And Prabhupada is saying, your consciousness should be absorbed in Krishna thought. That is Krishna consciousness. So, we have to see how much is our thought absorbed in Krishna. And Prabhupada is saying, there are different engagements that are given. Now, why these engagements are given? These engagements are given for us to become Krishna conscious. There is no other reason why the engagements are given. The primary aim, why Prabhupada is saying, when we are selling book, that is Krishna conscious. We should not divert our energy to something else. So the whole point of all activities that Srila Prabhupada has given, Acharyas have given, is to help us to become Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada is giving an example of a situation that sometimes we may think, oh, there is danger coming. If I think like a Krishna conscious person, there may be a danger. But Prabhupada is saying, our consciousness cannot be diverted. Even there is danger, even there is suffering in Krishna consciousness, we should tolerate. So this is very important principle. Why most people cannot progress or advance in Krishna consciousness is because they think, here is danger, let me give up this Krishna consciousness and take a simple route to save myself. And by that, I can become happy. I do not want danger. People are afraid of danger. But no, Prabhupada is saying we should welcome such danger if that helps us to be in Krishna consciousness. If there is something that we are doing which will help us to remain in Krishna consciousness, and yet it is seemingly dangerous, yet one should be in that. Why? Because a devotee knows that tatte anukambam susamekshamanaha. Because my dear Lord, it is your great mercy that I am put into this dangerous situation. Because I'm supposed to be suffering so much more, but by your mercy, you reduce it. So a devotee even sees the danger as the mercy of the Lord. So to see in all circumstances, as soon as people see there is some difficulty, some danger, oh, why is this devotee is like this? Oh, why is the temple atmosphere like this? Oh, why is this like that? Why is that person is like that? We are so much concerned about so many things. But perhaps we did so many things in our past which we don't remember. We do not remember how much trouble we would have given to someone else. And today some difficulty is coming and immediately we become disturbed. But rather, we should take it as a mercy of the Lord. Yes, there is a place where one should act in a rightful manner, but one should at the same time do it in a Krishna conscious way. So this is very important, that to always think about Krishna, to not divert to anything else, and then to even see the difficulties as a mercy of Krishna. That is very, very important. And Prabhupada says in various ways Prabhupada says what it means to be Krishna conscious. So we'll take a few more things. So Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness means just as an obedient citizen of the state is always conscious of the state's supremacy. Similarly, a person who is always conscious of the supremacy of God or Krishna is called Krishna conscious. He is called Krishna conscious. And we say that why should we? So Prabhupada is saying the first point here is that the supremacy of the Lord. So in general, everyone is thinking, I am the supreme, I am the controller. So as soon as I present myself as a controller, owner, proprietor, enjoyer, so as soon as one is having this impression, then the supremacy of the Lord is not seen. And therefore, one becomes very anxious, agitated. So one of the symptoms is that as soon as one is not Krishna conscious, one has to be anxious. Only in Krishna consciousness, one can be free from anxiety. Otherwise, the state of fear will definitely engulf an individual. So, we must, Prabhupada is saying, just like an obedient person is aware of the traffic rules, is aware of the state rules, and therefore is trying to follow the rules. So similarly, we have to understand the supremacy of the Supreme Lord, the position of his pure devotee, and the paraphernalia, his devotees, his incarnations, everything. And we should understand the supremacy, and we should understand our position and follow the rules that are laid by the Supreme Lord. That means Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada is saying, why should we become Krishna conscious? If you do not become Krishna conscious, then you become criminal, you become sinful, you have to suffer. The laws of nature is so strong that it will not let you go without suffering. So Prabhupada is saying that if we are unaware of the supremacy of the state and we start acting the way we want, there has to be punishment. Prabhupada gives the example of LSD. Prabhupada says that what about taking LSD? Even if you keep LSD, you can be punished. And if you do not understand the state exists and you don't care for it, still as soon as you are found, you will be punished. So, but in the case of laws of nature, they are very, very stringent. So if you think, oh, there is no God, I am the controller, I can do anything to anyone, I can give pain to someone. No, we have to pay price. So in another place, Prabhupada says, Krishna conscious means very, very kind. So in our behavior, actually Prabhupada brings so many practical aspects in his letters, in his conversations, in his lectures. In different places, Prabhupada is trying to explain Krishna consciousness in practical terms. How are we practically Krishna conscious or not? How do we see that? So that Prabhupada explains in his various letters. So this is another point which Prabhupada is mentioning to understand the supremacy of the Lord. And in various letters, Prabhupada is explaining the meaning of Krishna consciousness. And now I'm going to just take some of his morning walks and conversations. So Prabhupada is saying that Krishna consciousness means practical living, not something utopian or idealistic and vague. We simply do the needful, whatever pleases Krishna most. That's all. Gradually you will understand what it means to please Krishna and what it means to displease Krishna. That you will learn by studying our books and by yourself engaging in practical devotional service. So Prabhupada is making it very clear, Krishna consciousness means practical living, not something utopian or idealistic and vague. So Prabhupada is saying it's very simple, very practical. Do whatever is necessary to please Krishna. That is all Krishna consciousness is. To always think what Krishna likes, what Krishna wants, and to do that much. Neither too idealistic, neither vague. And Prabhupada is saying, how will we understand what Krishna likes? Prabhupada is saying that gradually you will understand what it means to please Krishna. By what? By studying our books, by engaging in practical devotional service. So simply if you do this simple acts of reading Prabhupada, hearing Prabhupada, understanding what Prabhupada says about devotional service, and how to engage practically in devotional service. And Prabhupada says then that there will be always, in the material dealings, there will be always something undesirable. But even so, you cannot give up your occupation. Just like fire is very pure, but there is still some smoke. You cannot avoid it. All these things can be rectified when the result is offered to Krishna. So even in our dealings and things, in our activities, there may be something like smoke, something which is undesirable. Yet when we sincerely offer everything to Krishna, it becomes proper. So Prabhupada is saying that. So there will be some mistakes as we start doing things, but our intention should be to only please Krishna. And in a practical way. That is very, very important. Not to be, Prabhupada is using utopian or idealistic and vague. We cannot be too utopian either. So this is Prabhupada is talking about how practically. In another place, Prabhupada says, Krishna consciousness means we should always be satisfied and happy. Very simple. Krishna consciousness means to be always satisfied and happy. Not that we must work something impossible, become overburdened, and then because we are unhappy by so much trouble, we lose enthusiasm altogether and give us all hope. No. If too much endeavor is there, that is to be avoided. By all means, we must preserve our spiritual status. That is the point. Not that we are mad after big buildings, many devotees, life members, this, that. No. These are only ways to engage the devotees so that they may apply the principles of devotional living to some kind of work for practical realization of these principles. It is not the result of the work we want, If only one person daily, if we sincerely preach to such one person in a day, that is sufficient, never mind big programs. So Prabhupada is very, very practical, very, very clear. Krishna consciousness means not something external. Prabhupada is making, we should always be satisfied and happy. And all that we are doing is not for something else. It is only meant, Prabhupada is saying it is not the result of the work we want. Prabhupada is saying all these engagements are meant to arouse our natural Krishna state of Krishna consciousness. It is meant to make us satisfied. And Prabhupada is saying we should not try to do something impossible, overburden, do something more and get disturbed eventually. No, that is not the point. So it is a very practical way what it means to be Krishna conscious. So this is from a letter to TGS by Prabhupada in Bombay, 19 December 1972. In another letter to Sri Govinda, Prabhupada writes, Krishna consciousness means attachment for Krishna and detachment for personal benefit, that's all. So attachment for Krishna and detachment for personal benefit. Very nice definition. So how much am I trying something for me? We may call this as devotional service, but in that I am looking, this is for my department, this is for me, this is for my family, something else. As soon as there is something for me, it is not fully Krishna conscious. Krishna consciousness means only attachment for Krishna and detachment for personal benefit. As soon as we see there is a desire for personal benefit, it is my consciousness or an extended my consciousness. It is not Krishna consciousness. So detachment for personal benefit has to be shown, and Prabhupada is saying that's all Krishna consciousness is. And Prabhupada is saying this in an issue which, but in any case, if there is a fight amongst yourself over these things, book distribution, competition, you should not develop ill feeling. That depends on the persons. If ill feeling is there, then stop it. All together chant Hare Krishna. Those who are behind should eulogize those who are advanced. If you become envious, that is material. So Prabhupada is saying, if you are fighting, you are doing so much, struggling, this and that, please sit down and chant. So Prabhupada is making it very clear that our prime thing is to make our mind absorbed in the thought of Krishna. And everything else is meant to support that vehicle. If that is not happening, we need to introspect, we need to see what is going wrong. Are we practically practicing Krishna conscious, or are we mechanically doing something called Krishna conscious? So, and Prabhupada is explaining one other thing which Prabhupada explained about how to see the difficult situation. Prabhupada is saying, mature understanding of Krishna consciousness means that whatever condition of life I am in at present, that is Krishna's special mercy upon me. Therefore, let me take advantage in the best possible way to spread this Krishna consciousness movement and conduct my spiritual master's mission. If I consider my own personal progress or happiness or any other thing personal, that is material consideration. If there was unhappy adjustment for becoming married, so Prabhupada is going to other point here, but here Prabhupada is saying that in any condition of life that we are in, we should take that as mercy of Krishna. We should not complain, we should not be bickering about certain things. Either the situations, the people, if we go on, we do not know for what reason we are being put in this situation. Actually, in every situation, Lord is trying to teach us something. Lord is very mercifully trying to bring us out of this material whirlpool. But we unfortunately try to figure out some cause, external cause, as the prime reason for our suffering. Actually, there is no external cause. As in the case of the bull and the cow, when asked by Maharaj Parikshit, they wouldn't find whose fault is this for which they are being troubled. Similarly, we may get stuck for our condition finding out someone else. But actually, if we take that as the mercy of the Lord, we will see our realizations in our heart will magnify. We will see, oh, Lord is actually putting me in all these conditions to actually remove me from all the difficulties. And it's a small pain that is giving for so much pain that I would have given in the past, so many living entities, for various kinds of sinful activities that I would have done. So this acceptance of our current state as the mercy of the Lord is very important. Otherwise, by unknowingly, we are rebelling against the will of the Lord. We are trying to find that there's something wrong with the Lord's will. No, Lord's will is supreme and ultimate. And it's our role to become subordinate to it. And then we are Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada is saying in another place, in a letter to Gunagrahi, Krishna consciousness means always increasing and remaining enthusiastic to push on this Krishna consciousness movement more and more. So our enthusiasm to spread this Krishna consciousness movement. Prabhupada is saying if you are eager, if you are enthusiastic, and always, Prabhupada is saying, always increasing and remaining enthusiastic to push on this movement more and more. So that is a sign of our Krishna consciousness. If you are eager to push on this movement, that is a sign of Krishna consciousness. So in this way, Prabhupada is actually giving various examples as what it means to be Krishna conscious. In another place, Prabhupada writes what it means to be Krishna conscious in a letter to Yamuna Mataji. Prabhupada says, in Rupa Goswami Kathamrta, it is stated that advanced life in Krishna consciousness means, so Prabhupada is here talking about advanced life in Krishna consciousness. So what happens when one is advanced in Krishna consciousness? One should always be very much anxious to calculate whether every moment of his life has not been utilized in devotional service. So one is always calculating the time. My life is so short, and every moment of that, am I using the service of the Lord or am I using it for something else? So this is called feeling of being afraid for misusing time. One should be very careful to estimate how every moment of his life is being utilized in the service of the Lord. The Goswamis are very much advanced in this line of action, and therefore about them it is said, Nitra Ahara Vihar Vijito. That means one who has conquered over eating, sleeping and mating. So in fact Prabhupada in this letter goes on to explain that actually so Prabhupada is saying every moment are we engaging the service of the Lord or not? That is to be calibrated. And for that, how can we increase that? By reducing all that which is not beneficial. And according to Prabhupada is giving the example of Goswamis, where they conquer over eating, sleeping, mating and defending. The idea, why are they doing this? Is to save more time from this materialistic business and utilize it for Krishna service. When our anxieties are how to utilize life in that way, that stage is called Abhyartha Kalatvam, utilizing life without spoiling it. So in this way, Prabhupada is giving various examples, practical understanding of what it means to be Krishna conscious and how to become Krishna conscious and what is the advanced stage of Krishna consciousness means. So there is so much more Prabhupada has written about this. I just came across this and found it very interesting and thought to share a few thoughts on this, and we will continue similar discussion in the coming days. We will stop here. Krantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Prabhupada ki, Jai Janmashtami Mahamotsav ki, Jai. Thank you.